Alright, welcome to floor 3. This is where things start to get a little bit tougher, because you'll find that enemies start to get a little bit more tougher as you basically go through the dungeon. Essentially, at floor 3, you'll basically have to deal with possibly stronger enemies popping up that'll actually target your heroes and do a little bit more damage. These can include like the Herna Warriors, which you'll basically see possibly at some point in its Let's Play series. Let's Learn series, rather. Anyhow, let's just get to see what's on the other side of these doors, though. By the way, since I have 3 heroes here and I'm gonna like basically open this door here, if you press shift, you can actually select all of them. You can do that like here or here, and basically I have all these guys selected at once. Basically, I'll right click on this door and I'll move all 3 of them up here at once. That can be a very good way early on to basically maximize your ability to get into a room and like clear it out if there's enemies in it. Basically send all your heroes in it at once. Alright, let's power up this room here. And we'll start off with building a science creator again. Note by the way that because Max can operate, he'll run straight to the module as soon as it's built to start operating it. And these other heroes will send down to open these doors over here, I think, at this point. Now, I didn't really say this in the last episode, but when Max basically runs to his, to a module to operate it, he basically doesn't begin operating it until like the next door you open. So right now, basically, he's only he's not actually adding anything to our resources for this door. This next door I'll be opening. Once I open this door, though, you'll see this this number 9 shoot up a little bit. So let's take both of these guys and open this door, and you'll see this boost up a little bit. So now it's basically giving me 14. So basically, your heroes that can operate have to basically stay in a module for a turn before they actually begin to operate on the modules, and then they give you the effects. Now, on top of this, the width skill that you basically see down here will affect how much of a bonus you actually get to the resources that you're actually going to generate from these modules when you actually are operating on them. With higher wit, you'll basically get higher resource generation, and you'll basically get more of the modules that way. Max is actually not very smart, but he's smart enough to basically get me a little bit of resource generation, so he's good for that. Alright, let's go power down this room over here. And let's open this door over here. Alright, we found a t-shirt. I'm actually going to equip this on Max. This will give Max a little bit more HP, some defense, but at the cost of lowering his speed by a little bit. But because he's actually operating a module, he's not actually moving around very much, so that's actually a good item for him to wear right now. That'll basically make him a little bit more survivable. Alright, so note that this room down here is unpowered, and I don't have the dust basically to power it. I basically opened this door because I actually have an extra hero at this point. So what I can do here, I can leave one of these heroes, Gork or Jewelry, to basically man this room so that monsters can't spawn in it. So we're going to take Jewelry up here, and I'll leave Gork down here. And basically, because Gork's in his room, monsters can't spawn from this room for the moment. And up here, I'll note by the way at this point we have the Tesla module I researched on the last level. So if I want to, I can place this down to basically defend the room, but I can actually still make do with the pistol prods, so I'm going to make use of those for now on the module slots. Basically, you want to conserve your resources as much as possible. Early on, like at floor 3, I recommend that you probably build like pistol prods at this point. And I'll actually show you something else once we basically open this room and have enough power for it. But for now, we're just going to open this door and just kill what's there on the other side, if there is anything on the other side. A Stele! Okay, so we just found a Stele. This is sort of like the Dust Factory in that it's sort of like a special item, but it operates a little bit differently. Steles are essentially these like sort of modifying factors, which will basically modify how like the game reacts to your reacts to your heroes. In this case, this Stele will make it so that monsters no longer attack my heroes, which is extremely bad. Essentially, with this Stele, monsters will ignore like Max here and will run straight for the crystal. or it'll attack my modules. So this is a very bad Stele. Now, Steles don't last for too long. In this case, this one has like 2 doors left on it, so estimated number of remaining turns is 2 doors. And each turn that it passes that you basically open a door, this will basically degrade, and eventually on the last turn it'll basically disappear. Which is good, because I really don't like this Stele. Hopefully when I open this door there's going to be no monsters on the other side, because if there are, they're going to completely ignore me and go straight for my crystal. But let's just see what happens. Alright, so some monsters spawned. And as you see, I press the space bar to basically pause the game there. So what's going to happen here, these monsters are going to, that normally would attack my hero, they're actually going to ignore my hero and go straight for the crystal down here. So at this point, I want to move Gork to basically get over here as fast as possible, or into the crystal room, and drill it down to here. And we're going to do our best to try and kill these guys before they get to my crystal. Oops. So it looks like I moved a little bit too fast and they went after they spawned in that room. So that's what happens if you move your hero from like a room like that. And I'm just going to quickly move Driller down here. If you move your hero too fast, by the way, they'll basically spawn like that. And I moved them a little bit too fast there. Eventually, after like enemies will spawn, they won't spawn like that, like in like a room down here. But they will if they may spawn if you move your hero a little too fast, which I did right there. Anyhow, this is about to disappear, which is good because basically the monsters were ignoring Drillary and going straight to my crystal like that. Let's open up this door next. And just do it again. Alright, this time dude is offering free items for food. I'm actually going to avoid buying from him because I actually prefer using food early on to level up, so we're going to ignore this dude. Now, I'll note by the way that these rooms are all unpowered. All of these rooms can basically spawn monsters that can basically attack me, so I want to be very careful of them. And I want to move Drillade back here possibly too. But here's a merchant. Alright, so here's a merchant that's basically paying him in science. So as you can see, all the resources are used to basically buy or sell stuff with like the merchant types. And in this case, he's offering up a Soul Taker, an Art T-shirt, kitchen gloves, and a Sonic gun. These are all like, you know, possibly good items to use, but again, I like to use my science and like, you know, resources and stuff for like other stuff early on than like, you know, the merchants. I will say this though. That's a nice gun. But anyhow, I'm actually get some dust here, which I'm going to basically use over here. And we're going to put down an industry area right here. Note that I basically like to, after like building like a science module early on, I like to build an industry like this. I only do this like for the first few levels. After that, I start to focus more on food. But for now, we're just going to basically power up this room so I can move Gork over here with Max. And there is stuff I can do with this merchant I forgot to do. If you recall from the last floor, I got this toothpick. This is a really useless item that really I don't want to use at all. So we're just going to sell this to the merchant. And I actually have an option to sell stuff to him. So I can actually sell this toothpick for a little bit of science to the merchant. Get a little bit of science for that. And if you click the buy again, you actually see your toothpick that you actually sold to him. You can actually buy it back for double the cost if you want, but I don't recommend doing that if you don't need it, so, you know, all that. I should probably know at this point I've got a lot of food. I can actually use this to level up my heroes if I want to. I actually recommend getting Gork to level free at some point, and this is a good time to do so. So let's just level him up twice. When Gork gets leveled up to level 3, he gets something called Soylent Green, which basically gives him food for killing monsters for you. It's a really good skill to basically get more food later on. So if you get him this like early on, it'll basically net you a lot of food in the long run. Alright, back to opening doors. Okay, that's the last door up here. We found a research module though, so I'm quite happy about that. Do a little bit of research of this type for now. Alright, so at this point I only have one door to open. It's on the other side of my crystal. So this is where you want to be very careful, because essentially you have to basically divide your attention between two flanks. Sometimes this will happen in your game throughs, and you basically just have to run with it when it happens. But for now, we're just going to basically send one of my heroes down here to basically open doors in this direction. And we'll have Gork and Max like defend up here. Alright, I just found a Restrainer. This is a very questionable item to use because it basically increases your attack cooldown. Basically makes your heroes like attack a little bit longer. So if you look at my hero right there, if I put this on Stele, she'll actually lose DPS, damage per second. And that's because her attack cooldown will actually increase by a second when you put it on. 0.2 when you put it on. So this is a very questionable item to use because basically the less damage that your heroes will put out, the more chance that, that enemies will have like to be able to do other stuff, like get past you to attack the crystal or other stuff. I recommend only putting like say a Restrainer on, like say a hero that like, you know, you don't really care about attacking too much. And in this case, I could put on one of these heroes, but actually it's not a bad idea to put on Gork perhaps, or Max perhaps. Max isn't really good about DPS early on, so we're actually going to switch out this t-shirt that he has for Restrainer. And instead I'll put the t-shirt on Gork here. Alright, so I got some extra power. We're going to use this to power up this room down here. On this module slot we'll put in our generator. And because of the fact that I only have one hero down here, this is where I'm going to build the Tesla modules. So the Tesla modules are kind of like the prison prods in that they're basically a defensive item that will basically attack monsters that enter the room with them. Unlike the prison prods, they operate a little bit differently. They'll basically do a lot more damage than like the prison prods, but they'll only attack about half the speed of the prison prods. They also target certain monsters over other monsters. Basically, each of these weapons will target like different monsters. In this case, if you look at the prison prod, you'll see that its priority target is anti-hero monsters. So monsters that will attack your heroes will basically target first. If I hover over the Tesla module, however, it'll basically target anti-module monsters first. Basically, any enemy that targets the module first, it'll target first. Alright, so there's enough of that explanation. Let's move down to this door next, and we'll hopefully not have to use these things. Alright, there's some dust. And I got some spawnings coming up here, so let's move jewelry back up here. We got a couple leapers there, but they got dealt with quickly enough. And killing those monsters gave me just enough dust to open another door over here, or power up this room over here, which is good. Let's put down one more industry generator. And I'll note by the way that I basically have opened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll note by the way that probably, you know, around that, 10 or 11 on the third floor, that's a good time to stop building modules again. I'm really only building this so that, I'm actually building these modules, like the major modules at this point. Actually, not so much for the fact that they might be used to generate resources, but because they're actually sort of like meat shields for me. Basically, if there's monsters that will attack modules, they'll basically attack this first before continuing on to my crystal, if my hero's in here. And I also got a whole lot of slots here, which is good. Let's put down a whole lot more Tesla modules. Now, note this cost me a whole lot of resources to basically build all these. Basically, these cost me 7... one moment. These basically cost me 7 industry per like Tesla to build, while opposed to like the prison products usually cost 3. So this is why I recommend, where possible, build like the prison products early on, because they're a lot cheaper than say like the Tesla modules, which are basically twice as much. Alright, let's try opening up these doors. There's our research module, which is nice. And more monsters, of course. Alright, so got a little bit more dust to move on. I also did some research for the science fair here, so let's go and see what else I can research at this point. Alright, so we got Tactical HOD again. We also got the Prisoner Prod. We'll go for that next. And I've got another one down here, so let's go use it up to basically do a little bit of research. Jelly is coming right down. And the emergency generator is also sort of like a later level type of item, so we'll ignore it. Let's get to Tesla Module 2 for now. And I'll power up this room so monsters can't spawn in it. And let's open up this door. I'll move right down over here. Actually, I'll move up here. If I move over here, enemies will have to pass through this room before they actually get to my hero. So I'll take damage in this room first. And I just noticed, but Max is taking damage. So it looks like some enemies spawned up here while I wasn't looking. This is possibly a good time to make use of Gork's ability. Gork has this ability called Psycho Killer, which basically increases his attack power for a little bit. And we'll use verbal abuse as well from Max over here to help him out a little bit more. And then we'll unpause. So you want to be very careful of your hero's health. In that case, Max is taking a little bit of damage, so I decided to, pay attention to him for a little bit. And while we were busy helping them out, apparently some monsters got killed over here. So these little balls are dust, and if you move a hero to them, you'll actually pick them up. So there's a little bit more dust for my use. Sadly, it's not enough to power up this room yet, but we got enough defenses over here, I think, that will be okay. So let's take Jewelry and open up this door next. And we got more monsters to worry about, so let's move up here. Alright, there's some more dust. I'll use that to power up this room here. Let's open up this door next. Oh, monsters. Let's move her back over here again. The kill room. That's what this is. And they dropped me some dust too, which is very nice of them. Alright, I can use that dust to power up this room over here. Now, note by the way, you want to be very careful of unpowered rooms that, you may not be, remembering. In this case, there's this unpowered room up here that I have to be very wary of because it can spawn monsters that can go from a crystal. I do have some defenses that can basically stop it, but if I'm not careful, there might be an overwhelming amount of monsters that can spawn, and they might be able to get to my crystal if I'm not watching it. So, be very, very wary of, unpowered rooms and what they might spawn on you. Anyhow, I did my research. I got the Prisoner Prod free and the Tesla module out of the way. And now I can do the food replicator free now. So let's do that. And I'll move Jewelry up to here. Now, note by the way that if I want to, I can move both Gork or Max up here to basically do research as well. So, I can take Gork up here and move him up here to do research. Instead of, having Jewelry here do it. You don't need to have, one specific hero or another do the research. You can do it with any of them. And we'll do Tesla module free. And move Gork back here. But there is something to note, by the way. I can move, Max, for example, over here to, basically do research if I want to. But if I move Max, he'll actually stop operating on this module. Something to know about operators is that if they move out of the room that they've been operating in for a while, they basically have to wait their turn. Once they come back to the room to basically generate more resource boost they basically give you for operating on them. So where possible, you want to keep your operators operating full-time on modules. So that's what I want Max to basically do right there. Alright, let's bring Drille down here again. We'll move her over here. These guys are settled in their room, ready to take their defensive stance again. Actually, you know what? Because Max and Gork were actually having a little bit of trouble up there, I'm going to unpower this room. So, kind of like here where I basically have this like sort of kill zone, I'm actually going to do the same thing over here. I'm actually going to build a whole lot of defenses up here to basically harass the monsters as they come at me. And we'll build a bunch of prison prods this time. Basically, I want to keep the resource count cheap, and I don't think I need too much help to keep these guys alive, so there's just a little bit of defense to help them out. Nope. Now, note by the way that I didn't build a major module here. You don't have to build a major module in every, like, you know, every room with, like, you know, minor modules. So if you want to, you can build like this array of minor module defenses if you want to in a room, and that's all you can like build if you want. So that's all I'm going to build in this room just to defend myself a little bit. And we'll use Jalaria down here to open up more doors. I'll run her back here when she does that. We found the exit. Cool. I should note, by the way, that certain like events will actually not cause monsters to spawn. If you find the exit, for example, you'll never cause monsters to spawn when you do so. And similarly, if you find these type of immersions, monsters won't spawn whenever you find them. However, note by the way that if you find a death dealer or like an artifact, those can cause like monsters to spawn, sadly. Alright, let's power up this room. And I'll use Jalaria to open up the door over here. Now, before I open up this door, I want to note something. If I click on this module and note that it basically says 2 doors left until this is basically done researching. Now, it's possible that this is the last door in the dungeon. And if this is the last room over here, if there's anything left on your research that's being researched, it'll basically be finished right then and there. So, this which basically has 2 turns left to basically be done researching. If this is the last door of the dungeon, this will actually automatically complete its research. So let's see if this is the last door or not. And it is. So basically, I get my research as you can see. There's another Stele. Wow. So here's another bad Stele. This basically causes me to not generate any food. Basically when this is active, this Stele here. So as you can see, I'm basically getting 0 food per level. And instead how this works, every time I kill a monster, I basically have a chance of getting food. So if I kill a monster, I get 0.5 food from killing him. Alright, so at this point, I'm done with the floor. I'm going to move Gork and Max over to the X over here. And I'll have Jalaria move all the way up over here. Now, something to note by the way, is that we're basically making your escape. If you want to, you can basically power down rooms that you don't think are necessary to basically make your escape with. So, right now I've got basically defenses in these rooms up here. And down here. But I have no defenses in these rooms over here. While I have basically this room unpowered, which these heroes in it. And this room over here, which is unpowered. Basically, these rooms up here, this room right here, and this room right here can spawn monsters when I basically pick up the crystal. And I want to note, by the way, if I pick up the crystal, monsters can spawn in this room regardless of the fact that there's heroes in it. So, I have to be very wary of that. But, if I go over here and power down these rooms, this one did have an industry module, but I don't really care about it anymore. I can use the extra dust here to power up this room and this room. Now, as a result, monsters can spawn from these rooms, but they can't spawn from this room or this room anymore. And as a result, I can take Jalaria here to grab the crystal and run for it. As you can see, some are spawning here, but they have to basically go for his death trap anyways, so it's fine. Note by the way that monsters keep spawning whenever you pick up the crystal, so you want to get out of here as fast as possible. But we're already here, so let's just exit and be done floor free. Well, there's another level out of the way. Now, I haven't really done this for the past 3 levels, but I think I should do so right now. over in your options menu, you basically have something called, you know, save and quit. Something I know about this game is that there is no, like, you know, save at, like, you know, much like any traditional game where, like, you know, save the game and, like, sort of, like, you know, drop back to it if you basically fail. Roguelikes are basically games where you basically keep going until you die. And you can save and quit the game if you want to, which basically will save the game at that point and basically quit it for you. But if I basically press continue here, when I press that continue button, I basically just come back to where I was. So, something I know about roguelikes. Basically, what that's doing is, it basically means that you can't save the game and make like a save point which you can go back to in case you foul up at some point. You basically have to continue from like the point where you basically last left off. But anyhow, I'm going to do that right now because I'm actually getting tired, and I think it's a good time to stop doing recordings. And I'll see you guys next time when I basically come back, do a little bit more Dungeons of the Endless with this Let's Learn. For now, take care.